During World War II, Birmingham's factories made vehicles and weapons for the war effort and became a target for German bombs. And like many British cities, it was home to American soldiers and airmen. But it also became home for an incredible group of women with a very special job to do. They were the only all-women, majority-black American battalion in the Second World War, and they were based here at this school in Birmingham. They were known as the 6888, and their story is now being told in a major film starring Kerry Washington and Oprah Winfrey. Historian Gary Stewart is glad to see their efforts are finally being celebrated. Who were the 6888?
They were a US African-American women battalion that was posted to Britain during the Second World War.
Based here?
They were actually based there.
This is King Edward School in Edgbaston. It was taken over by the US Army during the war. The 6888 was specially recruited and sent here from the US to deal with a crisis. A huge backlog of letters and parcels that were meant to have reached American troops all over Europe.
There were 17 million items of mail.
Wait, 17 million?
17 million items of mail that were backlogged in the system.
But this is a war, so people must have been moving around all the time.
And this is what causes part of the problem of the back mail, because they're trying to send mail to soldiers who are no longer there, the fronts moved.
With more than 3 million of its soldiers stationed in Europe, the US Army realised the missing mail was causing a huge morale problem. Major Charity Adams, played in the film by Kerry Washington, was given 6 months to solve the problem. She managed the 855 women in the battalion, creating a shift system so they could sort the letters 24 hours a day.
They're having to do detective work, parcels have been damaged, names have been ripped off, some unfortunately have been killed, so that mail has to be returned home.
With many parcels containing food, the freezing cold sorting office became infested with rats.
They're living in quite squalid conditions at the time, and that's what makes it even more remarkable that they were able to clear that mail in 3 months.
Although the letters received by British veterans Donald, Kenneth, Ronald and 99-year-old Jake weren't sorted by the 6888, they remember receiving messages from home.
It's something you look forward to. And when you receive one, it's happiness through the day.
Kenneth was in Africa when he received momentous news.
I got this letter, and there was a picture of this baby in it, and I showed everybody, look at what I've got. I'm a dad. I felt like I was on the moon. Once you're in a far-flung place, that's it. That's what you've got. Your letters are the comfort. Your letters are like the family next to you.
Back at King Edward's, the African Caribbean Society has been looking through some of the letters sorted by the 6888 at their school.
Darling Virginia, you are in all our thoughts every second these days.
In this letter from 1945 to Sergeant Virginia Massey, her mum actually writes about the mail backlog.
Several letters of ours must have gone astray. Did you receive the slacks, glasses, etc. you asked for? God keep and protect you every second. Affectionately, Mother.
Dr. Carmen Jordan Cox's mum, Annie, was in the 6888 and told her what it was like for a black woman at the time when the US Army was segregated.
Back in the 40s in America, things were very segregated and there was a lot of racism. We had separate bathrooms, separate schools, separate movies, separate restaurants, separate everything. So when they enlisted, they didn't have a choice about joining the white units.
Did your mum ever talk about how it was different for a black woman at that time here in Birmingham compared to back home in America?
She talked about having tea and crumpets with English families. In the United States, she would have had to serve that tea.
Carmen is proud of what her mum and the women of the 6888 achieved.
And they resolved an issue that men could not resolve. It took the women, black women, of course, to go and get this work done.